Alright, weebs, shut your blinds and lock your doors. We're talking Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei, or Jobless Reincarnation, is a pretty complex series for more reasons than one. At first glance, it comes off as a typical isekai story, where the protagonist gets whisked away from the boring, realistic world they know in favor of a strange and exciting world of fantasy. A pretty oversaturated genre, honestly, so nothing to see here, right? Except for the fact that Mushoku Tensei is widely regarded as the inspiration for most, if not all, modern isekai titles today. Most of the common tropes and themes present in the genre right now originated right here, for better or for worse, which is actually an excellent segue into the topic of today's video. As any genre grows over time, certain elements can change or become more exaggerated as new titles innovate on its execution or subversion. Typically speaking, this is a good thing since it keeps new entries to the genre feeling fresh and new, but sometimes it can feel like these things are just shoved in our faces for us to point at and recognize rather than serving an actual purpose. Take fan service, for example. Alright, hold on, elitist. You begin to type in protest. If we're talking gratuitous, senseless fan service, there's no better example than Mushoku Tensei. Predictable take, dear viewer. However, that is where you are partially wrong. For if you look hard, and most importantly respectfully, you may be surprised to learn that there are actually some real-life lessons to be found here amidst all the titty humor. Episode 4 of this new season in particular did a really great job in my opinion at addressing some really tough issues that I think a lot of guys can relate to on at least some level. We've all been down and out and down bad at some point in our lives, usually at the same time, and it's a really tough slump to try to get out of. Lots don't. Enter our main man Rudeus. After giving into and wallowing in what is admittedly severe trauma for 20 long years, his sloth and degeneracy finally catch up to him when he's kicked out of his parents' home after they pass away by the rest of his family members. Following a brief visit from everyone's favorite truck coon while trying to save someone crossing the street shortly thereafter, he finds himself in the body of an infant held in the arms of his new mother, accompanied by his new father. And although this is a new chance at a fresh start, old habits die hard, and even in the world of fantasy, PTSD doesn't disappear with a heal spell. Rudeus' mental age is nearly 3.5 decades older than his physical body, but we can very much see how deep-rooted his problems are as we physically watch him regress to a child every time he's stressed or overwhelmed. On the other hand, that makes it really enjoyable to watch as he puts in the work to take his first few steps past his developmental roadblocks throughout the show. He makes some serious strides too, but as anyone who's gone through it can tell you, healing isn't a linear path. When he's left high and dry at the end of the first season by his travel companion and third love, Eris, he's tempted to fall back into old habits and just become a shut-in again until he regains his motivation to keep going upon remembering his family. With that, he sets off to find his displaced mother. Now that he's found a proper goal to distract him from his depression, he focuses on putting one foot in front of the other for the time being. This is the same state we find him in at the beginning of season 2. And even though he's able to perk up a bit with the help of some fellow adventurers, he's still pretty depressed, so as it pertains to things perking up, well, you get the picture. Still determined to keep putting one foot in front of the other though, he continues moving. There's still a mom to find after all, and hey, maybe some familiarity could help him feel better considering the entire family's been separated for years by this point. He's relieved then to eventually learn that not only is his mother safe and sound in another nation, but also that the rest of his family is en route to meet up with her along with his magic teacher and actual first love, Roxy. With the end of his journey in sight, he becomes even more determined than ever to wrap things up and finally rest. So much so that he actually considers turning down an invitation to participate in a fully funded, self-guided study program at the very same magic university that teacher of his studied at. In this economy! Poor financial decisions aside, unable to confirm the legitimacy of the offer letter, all Rudeus needs to do is mention to himself that it was sent by God knows who from God knows where for the man himself to step in and clear up his apprehensions the very next night. This scene with the man god is probably my favorite so far this series for a few reasons. Firstly, whenever we see the man god appear to Rudeus, we see him as he sees himself, in his most honest. It's why he's naked in the first place. His soul is literally laid bare. Usually, in these moments, we see him throwing a tantrum or casting blame for his circumstances, reflectant of the fact that despite how he sees himself, he's still very much a child at heart. This encounter, though, is a little different. This time around, Rudeus has an overall sense of calmness throughout the conversation. He displays a general attitude of acceptance towards his circumstances, and even the grievances he does air are done in a level-headed manner. Even though he's clearly struggling right now, he's genuinely grown as a person and become much more mature. So much so that even when the man god starts to dig at him a bit, he's able to shrug it off and confront the heart of the issue itself: his escapism. You see, as far as he's come, our deflated protagonist still doesn't really seem to understand how life works. It's like he views it as some sort of video game with clearly defined checkpoints and endpoints rather than a continuous and ever-changing stream of events. The fact that his mother's been confirmed safe and is about to be reunited with the rest of his family alongside Roxy, a powerful and widely respected mage, should have been enough to let him know that technically his journey's already over. But since he's stuck in survival mode, he can't seem to break free of the rails that he'd been relying on ever since he started traveling solo. He'd needed that comfort and guidance to help keep him moving until now, but what he doesn't seem to realize he really needs in order to move on is confidence. Regardless of what he eventually allowed himself to decay into afterwards, Rudeus was pretty beat down in his past life and was never able to truly recover, which is the real reason for the whole man-child arrested development thing. And although relying on others and taking the time to lick your wounds are both legitimate and important for a time, coming up with some more long-term solutions are still beyond him without a push in the right direction. Which brings us back to Mr. No-Face. Instead of giving him all the answers right away, he gets him thinking first by pointing out the lack of progress that he seems to be making in life right now, while literally ignoring a special quest flag with a built-in EXP multiplier. Anyways, since Rudeus doesn't really have a ton of self-worth, it's easy for setbacks to reinforce that idea in his head and tempt him to want to give up. An excellent way to get out of a headspace like that is to literally cultivate yourself. Intentionally working on your flaws or accomplishing something new can really ground you, and making yourself more competent and self-reliant does a lot for a person's resiliency as a freebie. So it's easy to see where the man god's going with his advice. Not to mention, Rudeus has been wanting to improve his magic ability for years. The only reason he even met Eris was because he took on the job to tutor her in an effort to earn the tuition money for the very same university he was just about to turn down for himself and wifey number 2 Sylphie, aka the only other person he has yet to locate after the mass teleportation that displaced his family. I wonder when she'll be making an appearance. Still, this is a pretty uplifting message for the show's target audience. When we lose our confidence, it's pretty tempting to want to give up and hide ourselves away so that we can never be hurt again. Choosing to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and advocate for yourself to cultivate self-worth, however, is exactly the kind of message Rudeus and I think a lot of people really need to hear. Minus that part. Yeah, this is probably a good time for me to point out the fact that I seriously do not trust this guy. He's clearly got his own motives, but who even knows when that secret gets revealed? Don't answer that, light novel readers. Also, if I'm right about Rudeus appearing the way that he does in that spirit world place thing when he talks to the man god, that probably means that this guy's hiding his true nature from us, considering we can't even make out his face. For now though, it's back to school Harry Potter style, and I'll admit, I wasn't expecting a school arc, but the amount of setup we seem to be getting alone is enough to have me excited to see how things develop. Feel free to let me know what you guys think of this season of Mushoku Tensei below, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Peace.